So hi guys, Olivia Grace here. I'm not habitually a vlogger, but I thought that seeing as it's the week after BlizzCon, and I wanted to just do a little bit of a video check. Basically, I'm still in the States, as you can probably tell. I've had a lot of studio changes recently. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but actually the roof blew off my studio. And I hesitate to call it a hurricane because you guys have very, very serious hurricanes here in the States, and the ones we get in England are frankly ridiculously paltry by comparison. But the area which I live in, which is southeast England, specifically a county called Essex, was hit very hard for England by this specific hurricane, as they called it on the news. We had sort of 110-mile-an-hour winds, that sort of thing. It was pretty serious. And anyhow, the long story short is my sort of library room where I normally record is in, I suppose it's kind of technically called a log cabin, but that sort of gives the impression of something far sturdier than it actually is. It's kind of, I mean, I guess like in the UK we'd call it a summer house. It's kind of like a much better built garden shed. It's a wooden outbuilding which is like full with books, as you saw. And it kind of had an overhang on the roof, so it sort of hung over the front, over a balcony, so sort of a shade for the balcony, and the wind basically picked that up and pulled it off. So the roof came off my studio, which was highly entertaining, I suppose. We then obviously had to get all the tech out of there, had to get all the books out in a hurry. It was raining so hard, we sort of threw a tarp over it and everything. So anyhow, long story short, apologise for the absence of a talk Azeroth previously, working on it for this week. And that's part of why I'm here. I'm still in the States, as you can tell. I don't know what's going to become of the book backdrop. The room I'm moving to in the UK is it's great. It's soundproof, which is fantastic, but it's got a very, very low ceiling. So I don't know, like the shelves I have at the moment aren't going to fit in there. Like I'm not going to be able to get them in there. So goodness knows what will happen. I really do want to keep the books as a backdrop, but I have just no idea if that's going to be viable at all. So speaking of Talk Azeroth, as I keep saying, I'm still in the States. I'm trying to find new spots within this apartment where I'm staying with friends, just to like find a better place to do Talk Azeroth from that's less disruptive to them. So I'm actually outside. It's lovely and warm. It's California, obviously. So I'm just trying to do this to sort of see what there's obviously a hum in the background from the highway, and I just wanted to see if I can actually sort of bring that down a bit, like, you know, whether I can work it out with levels. And also it's quite quiet here. Like this is one of those gated housing complexes. It's quite like it's just generally actually quite a quiet place. So I think that hopefully I will be able to use filters and pull out a lot of the ambient noise. I've also got the microphone, as you can see, it's very close to me, very close indeed. So hopefully that will help with the overall sort of background noise as well. I'm very new to this. And yeah, I thought I'd do, instead of just doing a boring test sound video, I thought I would do a little bit of a vlog just to sort of share with you guys my kind of, let's move this so it's more central, there we go, a kind of BlizzCon experience vlog. My first ever BlizzCon. I kind of, like, when I started in at WoW Insider, it was just before the last BlizzCon was taking place, like just before. So actually, it tells me, while I'm doing this, I'm going to actually bring it up. It tells me how long I've been writing on our CMS. If I go to the dashboard, it's 9 days. 1 year and 356 days ago, I started writing for WoW Insider. So actually that might not be true. I don't remember when BlizzCon was in 2011. But nonetheless, so this was the very first ever one I've done, and it's been an amazing 2 years. I just sort of was thinking about this and thinking, hey, you know, maybe I should start doing some vlogging, maybe just like chat to you guys a bit, because I had such an amazing time meeting people at BlizzCon. Like for me, I'm an information junkie. Like I love knowing stuff. I guess like that's why I love what I do, because I love knowing stuff and I love having stuff to talk to people about. I love sort of gathering information and relaying news and finding things out before other people do, and that sort of thing. That's kind of what I'm like as a person. So it kind of explains why I do this job, but also it kind of explains why I kind of felt like I was a little frustrated by elements of the actual panels at BlizzCon, because obviously there's no way you can see everything. Like, you know, you all know, if you follow me, you all know my particular interests in World of Warcraft, very, very PvP focused, kind of gameplay focused, less story focused personally. It's just me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with loving the lore, loving all the story, being super, super into it. That's just not me. That's not my thing. So I'm really into my raiding. I'm really, really into my PvP. I love actually the gameplay. I'm less interested in the story side of things. So if I was at home watching on the virtual ticket, I could have like skipped around the streams, had a little look around. And also there were direct TV Q&As, which we weren't able to see as obviously people who were actually sat in the conference hall. So that was a little bit frustrating. That side of it, like wanting to know everything right now. Like I hated tweeting out about something thinking, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with this. And then have people saying, oh, they're answering that on the Q&A right now, Olivia, you knew. And it's just like, well, that's annoying. I can see these things are moving in the background, so that's good. I have to find a way to move, like sellotape those in place or something. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so first ever BlizzCon, but I mean, like, my frustration at the absence of, you know, the sort of immediate information that I would have been getting with the virtual ticket was completely and utterly made up for the experience of just being there, being in a hall full of people, like excited, happy people who were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And, you know, actually seeing the stuff being rolled out live on stage was incredible. And actually getting to play the games was fantastic. That was really, really, like, you know, to hear about Heroes of the Storm, to watch the trailer and to be able to go and play Heroes of the Storm was amazing. I can't honestly, I kind of feel like I might do a separate video about Heroes of the Storm because I'm so excited about that game. I'm going to be putting an article up on WoW Insider about it very soon, as soon as I get past my ridiculous writing pile. But yeah, and like other than that, just meeting people, like meeting my co-hosts on Legendary. I met Pat Crane, I met Gary Gannon, I met Coltrane, I met like a ton of the CMs. I mean, okay, a lot of those I'd met before because of the PvP summit. I met like people from Final Boss. I met people like Gemmett. I met people like Elvine, LV, and I always used to say, but apparently it's Elvine. Oops. I met like a ton of people just coming up to me and saying hi, asking for pictures. It was so strange to me. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I haven't been doing this for very long. And so it's so crazy to me that someone would want their picture taken with me. But it was amazing, and I had a fantastic time. And I wouldn't have exchanged that for all the hearing direct TV streams in the world. It was an incredible experience. And if there's one next year, I really, really hope to come back next year. And yeah, it's been a crazy sort of roller coaster 2 years for me, really. I like 2 years ago when I just started writing for WoW Insider, I'd taken the summer off. I had gone traveling through the States, as it happens. We started off, I met my friend Paula in Las Vegas for her 30th birthday, and then we drove from Las Vegas to San Diego and then all the way up to San Francisco over the space of 2 weeks. Then we spent a week in New York, and then we went back home. She lived in Melbourne, I lived in London at the time. And that was what I'd done. Like, prior to that, I just dropped in a very dramatical way out of a company where I'd been doing my previous career, which was working in high-end value-add asset management of corporate real estate assets. So basically big companies who have different jobs, or big companies who like are investment companies, will take people's money and invest it into property. And then that they own that property, and it's normally things like apartment blocks, it's normally things like office buildings, it's normally, you know, just stuff along those lines. And then they need people to try and make that more valuable, and that's what I did. So I took office buildings principally, and made them more valuable office buildings. I did that by negotiating longer leases, running refurbishments, running projects, like sometimes knocking them down and building new ones. And I just dropped out of doing that, which was very high end and very corporate and very not me. And then decided to go back to university. And when I went back to university, I was like, I had been a long time WoW player, always loved WoW, like particularly the PvP side of things, arenas specifically. And I'd been sort of very, very involved in that. And I went, well, okay, let's take a look. You know, I read WoW Insider all the time, and I thought, let's take a look at this PvP colonist application. So I put together an application, never, ever, ever expected to get it. And on my second week of university, I was in the car park walking back to my car, studying psychological and psychiatric anthropology as a master's degree at Brunel in London. And then I got an email from Alex Zebart, who's the editor-in-chief of WoW Insider, who I also met at BlizzCon for the first ever time in 2 years, saying, we would love to give you the job. And 2 years later, here I am at BlizzCon. It's crazy. I'm doing, like, you know, I now write a ton for WoW Insider. I don't just do that column. I've got Talk Azeroth, which I'm going to record right after this if I can get the sound to work. And I've got, you know, obviously Legendary over at Gamebreaker. And who knows what else? Who knows what might come next? So, well, there you go. that's a bit of a random ramble of my thoughts. I kind of like the idea of doing this a little bit more regularly if I get the time. If you like the idea of my doing this sort of thing a little bit more regularly if I get the time, let me know, I guess. Like, if you have questions, I'd love to do a sort of dialogue, question and answer, just chatting away kind of thing with this. I don't know, it's just an idea that literally just occurred to me when I was like, I need to test to see if the sound out here is going to be alright. So here you go guys, there it was. Let me know what you think. I'll speak to you soon.